Hey Algebra 1, in today's notes we are actually going to start solving quadratic equations. So we spent the past few classes looking at graphs of quadratic equations, looking at tables of quadratic equations, and finding all of their important key features. Another topic that comes up a lot with quadratic equations is how to solve them. So we solved normal linear equations way back in the beginning of the year. So solving stuff like 2x plus 1 equals 12. We learned how to solve those kinds of equations. Now we're going to be solving quadratic equations. So quadratic equations, in the format we're looking at today, are in standard form. So they're going to look like ax squared plus bx plus c. And this should look familiar because these are the kinds of equations that we have, these are the kinds of expressions that we have factored already this year. So when we are solving these quadratic equations, some things we need to keep in mind. We had a bunch of different words for x-intercepts. Our x-intercepts are also called our solutions. They're also called roots. They're also called zeros. And something we know about any x-intercept on any graph is that it happens on the x-axis. So I have two x-intercepts here. And at that x-intercept, my y value is 0. And we can use that information to help us solve these equations. So the method that we're using today is going to be solving by factoring. We use this method when our equation is in standard form. So standard form is our y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. If I'm trying to find my solutions are x-intercepts, that means my y value needs to equal 0. So whenever I have a quadratic equation that I'm trying to solve by factoring, I need to make sure that it's equal to 0. Once we have our equation equal to 0, we factor it using the methods that we've learned before. So our factoring trinomials methods, factoring by greatest common factor. You'll see some of the shortcut methods that we learned. And once we have that quadratic equation factored, we solve it using the zero product property. So the zero product property tells us that if I have two things being multiplied and they equal 0, so if I have a times b equals 0, well, then one of those things has to be 0. Either a has to be 0 or b has to be 0. Because the only way I get 0 as my answer when I'm multiplying is if I multiply by 0. So we're going to do two examples together, and then you have some delta math problems to try on your own. So in this first equation, I am already equal to 0. So I need to factor. My first step is done. Make sure I'm equal to 0. Check. Now we factor. When I look at this problem, I can see that I have a GCF here. Both of these terms can get divided by 4x. So when I factor this, I'll have my 4x out in front. In parentheses, I put the answer to my division problems. So 4x squared divided by 4x gives me x. Negative 4x divided by 4x is negative 1. And my equation is equal to 0. Here's where I use my zero product property. I know I have two things being multiplied here. We don't usually write that 4x in parentheses, but I can. I know this is multiplication. I have two things that are being multiplied and they equal 0. That means either 4x has to equal 0 or x minus 1 has to equal 0. So essentially what we've done is we've taken this quadratic equation and we've turned it into two equations that we already know how to solve. On this left equation, to get x by itself, I have to divide both sides by 4, and I get x equals 0. On my right equation, I have to add 1 to both sides, and I get x equals 1. That means my two solutions to this equation, or the two places where my quadratic function crosses the x-axis, are at 0 and 1. And we can just write our answers like this, as x equals 0 and x equals 1. But you'll also see these written, oh, that was a terrible squiggly bracket, in squiggly brackets to say that my two answers are 0 and 1. So in our second example over here, this equation is not equal to 0. So I need to make it equal 0. So I'm going to move my 2x squared term, so it's on the right side of my equation. So I get a 0 over here on the left. So I'm going to subtract 2x squared on both sides. What happens here is that my 2x squareds are going to cancel out, and I get 0 equals, when I look over here, I don't have any like terms. All of my variables have different exponents. So I'm just going to put this in standard form. So I'll have my negative 2x squared in front, a plus 9x in the middle, and a minus 9 at the end. Now I need to factor this right here. So to factor that, it is a trinomial. So I'm going to start with my diamond problem. In my diamond problem, the top is a times c. So negative 2 times negative 9 is positive 18. My middle value is my b, that's 9. So I need the pair of numbers that multiplies to positive 18 and adds to 9. And that pair of numbers is 6 and 3. So from here, you can either use the factor by grouping method or the box method, whichever one you like better. I'm going to show the grouping method. So I'm splitting this middle term. So I'll have my negative 2x squared at the front, plus 6x plus 3x minus 9. And this is still equal to 0. When I factor by grouping, I'm going to draw a line down the middle. And I'm going to factor my GCF out of each side. On the left over here, both of these can be divided by 2x. So I end up with 2x in front. In parentheses, when I divide this, I'll have negative x plus 3. On the other side, these can both be divided by 3. So I put my positive 3 out in front, and when I divide this, 3x divided by 3 is x, negative 9 divided by 3, it's not negative 9, it's negative 3. Well, I kind of have a dilemma here. I need the stuff in my parentheses to match, so I can make that change real quick by changing these both to negative 3. So now I have a minus 3 here, and in parentheses, positive 3 divided by negative 3 is negative x, negative 9 divided by negative 3 is positive 3. And this is still equal to 0. So now my final step for my factoring here, I'll have 2x minus 3 as one set of my parentheses, and negative x plus 3 as my other set. So now I have two things that are being multiplied. They equal 0. That tells me that either 2x minus 3 equals 0 or negative x plus 3 equals 0. So I used my zero product property to turn this into two equations I can solve. When I solve the equation on the left, I add 3 to both sides. I end up with 2x equals 3. I would divide by 2 on both sides, and I get x equals 3 over 2. So that's my first solution. In my other equation, I'm going to start by subtracting 3 on both sides. Now I have negative x equals negative 3. Both sides need to be divided by negative 1, and I end up with x equals positive 3. So that means my two solutions where my graph crosses the x-axis are at 3/2, which is 1.5. You can leave it as a fraction or write it as a decimal, it doesn't matter. My other x-intercept is at positive 3.